Good morning. Hand today is going to be pocket jacks. We are under the gun. I open raise and we get 3 callers. So 2 callers and then the big blind calls as well. So early position range looks something like this. This player is playing 24-3-0. 150 6 hands on him. He seems to be a little bit passive. I've got a 3-bet range of kings, 4-bet range of ace king off. I've got called 2 bets from blinds, includes ace queen, so I think kings plus ace king is going to be his 3-bet range. I think he's going to be fairly tight calling here, calling an early position. So we're going to give him like these pocket pairs, some of these suited connectors, and just a couple of big hands. This guy's playing tight aggressive right now, over 200 hands. 15-12. He's got a 3-bet range of queens plus and a 4-bet range of queens plus. So I'm going to give him a range that looks something like this: queens plus. I include ace queen suited here as part of his range. Yeah, as part of his range. You just kind of assume if you're going to be doing queens plus, you're probably also going to include ace queen suited and ace kings. I'm going to give him suited broadways. He's in position, some of these suited connectors, and so forth. I think the big blind's going to have the widest range. I think we have a bit more information on him. We do have a 3-bet range from him of what looks to be 10s plus, ace jack suited, ace queen. So he's going to have the widest 3-bet range. He's going to 3-bet mostly, and then you could say he calls 2-bet from the blinds. You can see a lot of the hands that he is called with. A lot of offsuit hands. That includes like 5-2 off, 7-6 off, 9-6 off, Jack 10 off, Queen 2 off. You've got King 8 off, King Jack off. Got a bunch of suited hands that look to be some sort of connected suited in some ways. Looks like maybe King suited, maybe Queen suited can call here as well. So we could give him all of the 3 gappers. All of the 3 gappers. We will give him probably the ace off suits, maybe the king off suits as well, and maybe those. Really wide range here. So we but we're gonna allow him to 3-bet 10s plus, ace queen plus, ace jack suited, king queen suited. All right, so the flop comes down ace 5. We are in a multi-way pot. There's 2 diamonds out there. I do not have a diamond. First player checks. This could be a spot to bet. It could be a spot to just check and go and just check it down. I mean, we have 3 opponents. The only person that really is most likely to hit that ace is going to be this player, because he has all of those aces, all of his ace X in his range. We only have each of these other players, each only have a few ace X, and then the person that has the next amount would be myself with ace 9 and ace 9 plus and ace 5 suited. So when villain checks, I'm not surprised, and then it's on us. I think we possibly could go ahead and bet. The question is, what kind of hands do we bet here? I think diamonds can call. I honestly don't think we're going to be getting called by a whole lot. We've got fold to c-bet in the 60s for this player, fold to c-bet 50s. That's only 2 hands. These are probably like 6 hands, 5 hands. This guy probably won't fold. So for that reason, since we have a player that won't fold and probably connected with that ace, it's probably better to just check our jacks. So like check our pocket pair below the top card. I think maybe we save ace jack. Maybe we bet like ace king. And then maybe some ace queens. Maybe we bet if we have a backdoor flush draw for those. But then we check everything else. full house, I think it's checked. I think we're planning for a check raise at that point. You know, if we have ace five, actually we have basically all the cards out there. There's really no reason to bet at that point. So I think we're checking, and that means if we're only betting like ace king and some ace queens then I think we're looking at probably checking most of our flush draws as well. Our 2-card backdoor flush draws. And yeah, we don't have that ace queen. We can't have the club. We can't have a club backdoor because the ace of clubs is up on the board. Yeah, so I think if we bet ace king, if we bet ace queen here, then I think with our flush draws we probably bet just kind of as a bluff or diamonds. I don't know, maybe the spades. If we or clubs, if we have clubs, it makes it more likely someone might have that diamond draw. Whereas if we have the diamond draws, it's going to eliminate a lot of those hands. Maybe we check all the flush draws and instead we try betting like king queen, king jack, you know, these club type hands, king queen, king jack, king 10 of clubs, just to balance ace king, ace queen. Might have to add a few more of these to our range, but I think that's probably the idea. So I think that's what we have here. Of course, our no made hand's going to be in there. So we checked. Everyone checked. I think these players, I'm not surprised this guy would check. I think he probably checks everything. I'm sorry, this player, the second player. This player, though, I think once he checks, I don't think he's going to have 3 of a kind. Yeah, he could have a full house, but I think 3 of a kind in his position would have bet. So we're going to include, basically give him everything else other than that 3 of a kind. 2 of spades comes out. Now he bets 620. I think that is consistent with I think that's consistent with at least the top pair hand. This guy's probably the loosest player that's out there, so he could be betting. Let's see the size. He bets half pot. I don't know. I kind of expect the full house to check raise here. Maybe he could have a straight. Maybe he bets out with a straight here, half pot, to see what people have. I kind of think it's more of a check. This straights would also be a check. I think 3 of a kind's possible. These pocket pair below the top cards. I think the middle pair, he's going to be aggressive with his bets. Maybe even the pocket pair less than the second card. Maybe even a weak pair hand could be betting here. I don't think I'm going to give him credit for the diamond draw, but I think he could have that. I think those are probably the hands that he could have. So I called because of the possibility that he has all of those weak cards. So I think here we're calling with all of those hands. We're probably getting pretty decent odds. I mean, we could be ahead with our pocket pair. We're ahead of any of the 5s and the 2s and so forth. And if we were on a flush draw, we're getting 3-1 on our call. With the possibility that somebody else is going to come behind with like an ace. And we have possibility of, you know, if we get another caller, of making one more bet on the river if we make our hand. These other 2 players fold, so it just kind of goes with what I thought. His range is just going to miss this board a lot. Same thing with this guy. This range is just going to miss the board a lot. He could easily have the under pairs or any of these. And we kind of eliminated 3 of a kind. You know, him having ace x because he checked it on the flop. So it's just the two of us. River's the 5. That kind of changes a lot. you know, eliminates 5x. Well, somewhat eliminates it, reduces the combos. Villain checks, and at that point, I kind of think, what kind of hands is he going to check? I believe he would probably continue betting a full house. Probably the strong full houses. I think the weak full houses probably just check and hope for a showdown. So we're going to say he could have a weak full house. He probably could have a pocket pair below, or he could have one of these nothing type hands. So I think at that point, my jacks are actually faring pretty good, because out of all the 60% of hands that he has, 40% of them are full house. 60% of them are hands that I beat. If I bet what hands call, I think if I bet the only hands that call is a full house, I think it makes sense to just check behind and take the showdown, and he shows 3-4 for the straight. So kind of threw me off there, because I kind of assumed maybe he wouldn't have bet the straight, but if we include the straight now, and we have, the 5 of hearts, he has a straight here, that kind of makes sense. But I think we're in the same situation where I think if I bet, I'm only getting called by hands that beat me, and I don't think a straight calls. I really don't. So could we have bluffed? Could we have gotten him to fold? Maybe. His fold to c-bet stats aren't that good, but the fold to river, the one time he did that, it is a one. Let's see just overall fold to river bets. 52%. So maybe I could have picked up this pot with a bet, but my thought was I'm ahead of a lot of hands that he would have been betting in that spot, that would have then checked that, and they would have checked the river and folded to any bet, and we beat those. So overall, I think my play is okay. It's a multi-way pot, so it's kind of hard to check GTO type strategy. But it's just kind of unfortunate that he called with. I mean, we're glad he calls with it. That's junk hand, but kind of unfortunate with how the cards ran out. And yeah, we could have taken a stab and probably picked it up on the river, and maybe that's a play. Once he checks, we realize that he's fairly weak. I guess the only hand we think would call would be ace or the 5, and I don't think the ace checks, so that means a 5, and possibly he then folds everything else, unless he puts us on a diamond draw. That's the only catch. If he puts us on the diamond draw, he's calling with any of his pairs plus. So all right, hopefully you enjoy this hand. If you do, look tomorrow for another one.